Welcome to On the Fringe. Today, I actually want to take you to the book of Exodus, and I want to get into chapter 17. And in Exodus chapter 17, we find the children of Israel are brought into the wilderness of Sin, or in your English Bibles, it's literally spelled S-I-N. And we would typically say the wilderness of sin. And what we're going to find is that is appropriately named. Ultimately, in the Hebrew, it really means thorn or clay. But the children of Israel are brought here, and something begins to unfold here. And what begins to unfold is the fact that they are actually thirsty. They are, in their minds, they're dying of thirst. In fact, what we read as we get to verse 3, and the people thirsted there for water, and the people complained against Moses and said, "Why is it you have brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" So the children of Israel, they're confronted with an actual physical need. They're confronted with trials, with tribulations. And what do? They immediately place blame on Moshe. They place the blame on God, ultimately, because their expectation was not met. See, the whole reason of what they were told when they were going to be brought out of Egypt, they were going to inherit vineyards that they didn't plant. They were going to inhabit houses which they didn't build. They were going to have wells which they did not dig. Well, here they are in the wilderness of Sin. Where are these things? None of these promises were actually obtainable at this moment. And therefore, they begin to stumble. Their faith starts to crumble, if you will. And I really think there's a profound lesson here for us. You remember, Paul writes that the things that were written before were written for our learning. And how many times have we gotten in need? Rather than responding, we react. And the way we react is blaming God and calling into question God. And if God is among us, then why am I going through this? Why am I having to deal with these issues in life? And believe me, when you get into these trials and tribulations, your flesh is going to want to respond and immediately start blaming everyone else and God himself for your problems. And that's a scary thing. And I say it's a scary thing because it's actually falling into the sin of tempting the Lord your God. And so as we continue to read in this story in chapter 17, this is what we read. So he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah because of the contention of the children of Israel, because they tempted the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" I mean, just think about how profound and how we are supposed to, the lesson that we are to draw from here, that when our little worlds are not going perfectly, how we start throwing a fit and we start to get angry. When you feel that in your flesh, go to your knees. This is where we need to drop to our knees. This is where we need to melt our hearts before the living God. This is where we need to wait on the Lord. This is where we need to trust in His faithfulness, in His holiness. Despite everything you are literally experiencing, you may be going through trials and tribulations. You may be actually in need. I mean, even to the point where it could be food and water, just as we see it happened with Israel. But are we going to fall? Is our faith that weak where we're going to crumble? And we're going to say, "Is the Lord among us or not? Why is this happening to me?" And how many times, I can tell you personally, I've heard literally people say, "Why is this happening to me?" Not recognizing, not being taught, not being equipped with the reality that in this life and on this earth, this is our wilderness and this is our test. And we read in Deuteronomy 8:2, "And you shall remember the Lord your God led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness to humble you and test you, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep His commandments or not, whether you would hold fast and believe in Him and believe that He will actually carry out His promises, because He said He would." So no matter what we experience in this life, we will not be shaken. We will hold fast. we will hold firm to the very end. And so I just encourage you, brothers and sisters, hold fast. Hold fast. Be still and know that He is God. What He has promised us, all this goodness and all this perfection and the safety and the peace and the shalom, it will come to us if you hold fast to the end. But no, in this life is going to be fraught with trials and tribulations. Well, that's all for this week. I just encourage you to continue in the faith, and when you are up against these trials and tribulations, call upon His name. Go to prayer and pray to Him. Amen. Well, bless you, and you guys have a great week.